Pause for thought and join in the barking with Darren Rowe on The Mindful Dog.
So it is time to talk dogs. If you have a question for our canine behaviourist, Mindfulness for Dogs, Darren Rowe, now is your chance to get it in. 0800 844 747. Darren, a very good morning to you.
Good morning, Mel. Not such a great morning being in lockdown again. Isn't it amazing how a week can change everything?
I know, because last week we were talking, you were in the Hamilton studios and everything was normal, and then essentially as we came off air, Waikato went back into lockdown.
It was. Good job I didn't gloat, wasn't it?
It's a very good job you didn't gloat. So how have you been going? How's the week been for you?
We're quite fortunate in a lot of ways because we've got a bit of land, so we can get out into and walk with dogs ourselves. So it's not too much of a problem. It just means that my clients don't get any dog training, because we can't work at level 3, obviously, on a one-to-one basis. So it's a little bit annoying. But apart from that, our dogs are still doing the same things. Like I say, they don't know they're in lockdown.
No, they don't know they're in lockdown, do they? 0800 844 747 is the number to call. You know what? Let's start with a question because Teresa is on the line. Morning to you, Teresa. You're on with Darren.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning, Teresa.
Good morning. I was just wanting to know, I've got a nearly 2-year-old black lab, and if we leave him out in the backyard and go to work or something, he literally destroys everything. He'll pull plants out, he will get up on the outside table and eat candles. Literally, we just can't leave him out there because he just will destroy everything, but never, ever does it when we're home.
So that sounds very much like he's quite stressed out being out there. If you think about it, labs are quite sociable animals, so they like to be inside with people, and that's generally where they want to be all the time, isn't it? So putting him outside by himself, it probably doesn't have the confidence to deal with the situation. So dogs do strange things when they get stressed out and they get anxious. They try and eliminate things. They destroy things, don't they? Because that chewing makes them feel a bit calmer. So he's probably started to control his environment by biting and destroying things, and then it's become quite fun. It's become a game, and then it's just become a habit, and then that's just what he does. So the only way to really stop that kind of behaviour is to limit the amount of room that he has. So our dogs are outside when we're at work, but they have a small kennel area. I think people in New Zealand make a mistake. They give their dog the whole garden. It's too much for them to deal with. So limit the space they have. Then the destruction can only be a small amount, but then give them things that's more appropriate to destroy, if that makes sense. So really strong chew toys, because all he's trying to do is just amuse himself. You can put the radio on. It's quite a good thing, gives them something to think about. But it will be boredom, generally speaking, and just a lack of confidence. You can do confidence games. You could do some confidence games, teach him to calm down. But it's a typical thing for a lab, especially if they get some food at the end of it as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. No, that's cool. No, we do leave them in a kennel and a small run, but I think maybe just extend that run because it's. Yeah,
and what you can.
I don't like leaving them in it.
No. What you can do is you can give him things to do. So you can have. We're talking about enrichment. So this is. For the listener, this is exactly what you need to do, really. A lot of things that I'm going to talk about today. Hanging things so he can hear the noises, all those kind of things. Just giving his brain something to think about, really, rather than let's just destroy everything.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll keep listening. Thank you.
Thank you, Teresa.
Good luck with that, Teresa. 0800 844 747 is the number if you have a question about your dog. For canine behaviourist, Mindfulness for Dogs, Darren Rowe. So we did start talking about enrichment last week, but we never really finished it off because when we get busy with the calls and the texts in, we obviously respond to those first. So where do we get to with the enrichment last week?
I think we started looking at the sort of cognitive learning bit about enriching through learning.
Yeah, we did.
But we just literally touched on that, I think. So really, I think going back, there's like 4 different things. There was this great book that I was looking at, Beyond the Squeaky Toy, which I would recommend that people get. And actually, it gives you like 100 different things that you can do to enrich your dog. So if you're really struggling to find things, then this is the book to get. And some of them are really, really simple ideas that you just think, oh, surely not. But dogs love it, like putting treats in a box. and putting lots of newspaper in it and just putting it outside for them to go and forage and try and find the treats. And that's so stimulating for a dog because it's using the nose, it's using all their different senses. And for us, it's just a box with treats in, but for a dog, it's like a little treasure trove, isn't it? So just simple things like that.
It's really interesting because I was having this conversation with my husband about enrichment, said how we talked about it, and he couldn't understand because it never come across having to do these sorts of things for dogs. It was something quite novel, and I suppose it is for a lot of people, like hiding treats in boxes and things. It's not something they think they need to do.
No, but if you think about it, if you go back to the wild dogs, and I won't say wolves, but they would be included in that as well, I guess, they spend 80% of their day foraging for food and hunting. And then our pet dogs just sit on the couch and laze around. So it's not surprising they get bored, isn't it, really? So we should really be giving them opportunities to do the same kind of things that they do in the wild, because they've still got the same motivations and the same sort of drive, haven't they? So it's just that they don't have the opportunity to do it. So it's not surprising if you leave your dog in the house that they go hunting in the house for things and then destroy things with it, because they're just doing what a normal dog would do. So better to give them an outlet for it that's a bit safer and a bit less costly, shall we say, for you.
So hiding treats in boxes, etc. What else should we be doing?
Yeah, so cognitive learning then, that's really getting the dog's brain thinking. Okay, if we really work the dog's brain and get them to make choices in their behaviours, and we talked about shaping before and all that kind of stuff, then that's actually quite tiring for a dog. Mental stimulation is way more tiring than physical stimulation for a dog. They tend to sort of chill out a lot better when their brain has been worked than even if their physical body gets worked, because they just get sort of stronger and stronger. They want more and more exercise. So just doing little games where you're teaching your dog to find things. Hide and seek's an awesome one. You go and hide. If you've got kids, you can get them involved in that. So you put the dog in the crate, you go and hide, and then sort of like scream, shout the dog's name out, and then let him out the crate, and he can go around the house trying to find you. Just those little things like that. We can teach the dog to do various tricks, and I think we've talked about tricks before, just to stimulate their mind, and then they're going to offer all those different things. I did see a video on YouTube actually quite recently where the dog took himself to the shower, and they had a electronic shower thing, and he just came in and pressed the button or pushed the little thing in and took himself for a shower, which I thought was pretty cool.
Well, that's unusual because I know that my dog really does not have. She does not love the water.
No, that's right, yeah. I was quite surprised. This was a little Weimaraner, I think, which I didn't think I'd seen many Weimaraners go and take themselves for showers, but it's pretty cool. So anything that's going to stimulate the dog's learning and make them, but it's important about them having choices. If you're just telling the dog what to do all the time, that's not going to be enriching whatsoever. It's all about the dog having the choices. So you might give them 3 toys and say, which one do you want? And then they might go and choose that one.
Can you teach an old dog this? Like, can you teach an old dog these sort of things and give them this enrichment?
Definitely, yeah. And I think they're definitely the ones that you need to, because if you think about older people, we used to think that, when you got old, that was it. Your brain just stopped working and then you started getting dementia and that was it. Whereas now we realise the more you stimulate the older person's brain, the more their brain becomes alive and the less old they get, really, in that sense, isn't it? So same for dogs. The more we stimulate their brains, the less likely they are to sort of become dementiated and stuff like that.
It's like crossword for dogs.
Exactly, Sudoku. We talked about that.
Yeah, we did. Sudoku for dogs.
I hadn't trademarked it, no.
Oh, we haven't. See, this is our opportunity missed, Darren. We should have trademarked that. We could make a fortune.
It's not like I've had a lot else to do, is it, either?
Hey, I've got a text here from Sunny. We have an 8-month-old Chihuahua cross miniature Foxy who barks and chases people as they walk past the fence. How do we manage this? Yeah,
so that's a territorial behaviour, and Foxies are quite common with that one. Chihuahuas not so much, but the one thing we've got to think about when we're training is that management and training go hand in hand. So I would probably say of the consultations I do, probably 40, 50, maybe even 60% of training is actually management of environment. So if a dog's allowed to practice the behaviours all the time, then it becomes a habit, and then it becomes something you need to train out. But if you can stop the habit forming, it's much quicker to get rid of it, if that makes sense, get rid of the behaviour. So I would stop the dog from being able to do it physically. I would manage in some way, and then you can train an alternative. But until you can take that opportunity of practicing it every day away from the dog, you're never going to change the behaviour.
A Chihuahua miniature Foxy cross, that'd be quite a cool little dog, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it'd be an interesting combination there, definitely. Yeah.
0800.
I haven't seen many of those.
No, you don't. 0800 844 747 is the number right now if you have a dog question, if your animal. But let's go back to enrichment. So we've talked a bit more about the cognitive enrichment. What other sort of enrichment is there?
So the obvious one is the physical environment or physical enrichment, and that's something that your dog will engage in so much easier. Okay, so that's what they do when they're bored anyway. So they'll go and, like the last call of trees, they'll go and chew up all the plants, and they'll do that kind of thing. So we give our dogs an area, and if you come into our training centre and you walk into our training shed there, you'll see a little area just before that, and it will just be full of holes. It's a complete bomb site, but that's the dogs' areas for digging. Okay, so we give them a place to dig, and we've got 7 dogs, so we have quite a big area for them to dig. Obviously, you wouldn't need to give one dog maybe as much area as we do, but maybe just a little kind of kiddies paddling pool if you don't want it to be part of your garden, but promote that area. Don't assume your dog's going to go and dig in there. Put things in the ground, teach your dog to go over there. Dig in there yourself. Make it something special for the dog, and then the dog's going to go there and dig. And that's a really good way to stop the dog digging up your garden as well. Give them a place, but it's quite enriching because you can put all sorts of things in there.
Right. Be like Dale in the castle. Go and dig a hole.
Yeah, definitely. And what dog doesn't want to dig? Let's face it.
True.
You can do things like you can hang old CDs if you've still got those kind of things. Old CDs or wind chimes. Dogs love to listen and watch things like that, as long as they're not petrified of them. Obviously, you don't want to scare them, but you can put things like that. Just stimulates the physical environment a bit. Things that they can grab. So maybe bits of string down with toys on, that sort of thing. So they can just like grab and nuzzle and things like that. Obviously, you've got to make sure that when you introduce anything that's new, that you're watching and it's safe. And we don't want dogs getting hurt, obviously. You could do things like I've seen with kids making, especially in lockdown, you've got your kids at home, making a fort, blanket fort, and going in there with the dog, because it's just a different situation. So they get stimulated in a different way because they've got blankets all over them, and the kids can enjoy that kind of thing. It's quite fun. You can, if you've got pop-up tunnels, I've got like a little cat tunnel. We've got lots of agility tunnels as well, but we throw those things down. And the dogs, especially the small ones, your little chihuahua, would love that, running up and down the tunnel. All those kind of things. Basically, anything that just changes the environment, changes the physical environment, and just gives them another challenge, then it's just going to be stimulating, and it'll just kick the boredom.
Sonny texted in again and said the Chihuahua Mini Foxy Cross is called a Taco Terrier.
Oh. There you go.
It's kind of a good name. 0800 844 747 is the number if you do have a question for Darren. We have Bruce on the line. Bruce, morning to you. You're on with Darren.
Yeah,
good morning, Bruce.
Yeah. Hey, I've got a GSP 3-year-old, and gets all excited, I believe, and does a lot of squeaking in the back, like I do a fair bit of hunting with her, and she's really well behaved in the bush and everything, quiet as, points, everything you want. And I've had quite a few of these over the years. I'm 68 now. And, she just makes this sort of excited, squeaky noise. You can't yell at them. You can't, upset them in any way. They take it personally or doggedly.
Yeah, they're very sensitive dogs.
Yeah.
So it's in the back of the ute, I guess, yeah?
Oh, this is sitting anywhere, even at home, just before I'm going anywhere, she sort of gives a squeak and, quite a lot of it.
Okay. Yeah. So it's almost like anticipation, isn't it? Of excitement.
I think so.
Yeah. So what I would say there is, first of all, it just means that you're motivating your dog really well. So congratulations on that one. She's obviously got a great life on her. But if it's annoying you and it's really really getting to you, then have a little think about what's triggering the behaviour. So it'll probably be you sort of going and putting your shoes on or grabbing your coat, and there'll be a trigger for the behaviour. And when you sit down and just watch that, maybe even record the whole situation and then watch it later, you can start to sort of deflate those triggers. So say, for example, it was when you grabbed your coat, that's when it started, yeah? Then you would, rather than only grab your coat when you go out to hunt, then grab your coat lots of times and then redirect into a treat or a toy or that kind of thing, and just start to break those triggers down so they don't just mean going out to a hunt, if that makes sense. It's just
when I'm in the vehicle
way to really do that.
Yeah. When I'm in the vehicle going out, driving up through the bush and that, she does the same thing. Sticks her, like a letter, have a head out the window, and she squeaks and carries on. If we're going to town, and that when we slow down going through a township, she'll start it.
Yeah.
And going into someone's place where she knows there's a dog. Right? Yeah.
That's quite common with dogs, that when the vehicle slows down, that's when the next thing is going to be the excitement, isn't it? That makes sense. So they always get really excited. We see a lot of the dogs when they come training here, they start barking as they get past, as they slow down to turn into our property, not barking before that. So just that excitement. So again, just break it down. So take them out and then just slow down randomly. They'll start barking, just stop, wait for them to calm down, then carry on driving, just so that you start to give them other situations that's happening, when they're not going to suddenly go out and run around. You've just got to break it down. It's just you made their life too exciting. But it will take a bit of time. Yeah. It will take a bit of time just to break those triggers down. Yeah. But do some observations.
As soon as we're hunting, she's quiet as. Yeah. So that's probably what I would do. You can look at clicker training to help that, but timing when you're driving is really hard to do that sort of thing.
It would be. Hey, Bruce, good luck with that. Yeah. And get back to us and let us know how the advice has gone with you too. 0800 844 747 is the number if you have a question for Darren Rowe, Mindfulness for Dogs. You've got about 8 more minutes to get it in, and that's it for another week. And 3920 is the text as well. So let's go back to the enrichment. What next?
Yeah. So sensory enrichment, and that's something that we don't think about very much. And when I say sensory, I mean more than nose than anything. Dogs got 5 senses, same as us, but their hearing and their nose is probably a lot, 1,000 times, a million times better than us. So when we take our dog out, we just think they're just looking at things because that's the senses that we use, and we use our ears a lot. But actually, dogs, they smell things so much more. So what might be really boring for us is incredibly stimulating for the dog because they can smell 1,001 things. So let's tap into that. So you can buy, you see in doggy daycares where they do those lovely photos where they're throwing bubbles everywhere and the dogs are going crazy. You can buy bacon-flavoured bubble stuff.
What?
Which is mad. How crazy. And that's quite stimulating for dogs, really good. And quite, amazing photos you can get as well. Just having lots of herbs and spices, just make sure that they're not toxic to dogs. So as far as I'm aware, mint and cinnamon is not toxic. So you can have that. And lavender, we have lots of that everywhere. And just having that sort of smell, you can get sort of lip balms and put it on things. Again, just check that it's not toxic for animals, obviously, because we don't want to go hurting the dogs. But anything that stimulates the smell. There was a dog trainer in the UK. I forgot his name now. Apologies. And he trained his dogs. He had 5 dogs, and he trained his dogs to only go for certain toys because each toy had a different scent on it. So one dog would only go for lavender, one dog would only go for rosemary, and so on and so on. And that's a really cool thing to do. Then you don't have any sort of aggression between dogs as well. I haven't quite got to that stage with my dogs. I haven't had the time to do that sort of thing, but that would be a great thing. If you live on the farm animals, great smells. Dogs love the smell of farm animals. You've only got to see a cow pat and know that dogs roll in that every 5 minutes. So any sort of new sense that the dog can experience is going to be enriching, pretty much. So when you take a dog for a walk, don't expect it to walk to heel all the time. Give it a chance to go and smell. I mean, not all the time, because that's really annoying, but let it sniff. That's so stimulating and so enriching for a dog.
Okay, so let them do the sniffing. 0800 844 747 is the number. We have a question. Priya is on the line. Morning to you, Priya.
Morning, Mel. Hey, look, guys, I've got a quick question. My family has adopted a tri-paw. We adopted him in May. He's a gorgeous wee critter, and I just basically want to know, what can I do to help him with the water issues? Now, when I say water issues, I mean he doesn't like to drink water out of a bowl. He is terrified of my little ones running around with water bottles. We have a cup of coffee in our hands. He's scared. So it's been a lot of work on a rescue side of things, and we're willing to do all the hard work, but it's just more so, what else can I do to help our tri-paw?
Tri-paw, would you say, yeah? So I didn't catch the name.
Yeah, you've got 3 legs, so yeah.
Yeah. So what age is he?
When we adopted him, we were told that he was 10 months, but we're figuring now that we've had him for 6 months, he's about 2 years old, roughly.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so the water issue sounds like, clearly he's been trained in a way of punishment at the beginning, and it would have probably been a water water pistol or something like that. So what you've got to think about is every time he sees water in a cup, it's probably going to be thrown at him. Every time he sees water in a bowl, it's going to be thrown at him. So that's causing a lot of anxiety and stress. So the best way to get him through it originally or initially is to take all those things away, or as many of those things away as you can from his environment. If his environment doesn't see them, then they're not going to trigger those behaviours. Then you can start to introduce them back, but with treats and with positive reinforcement to say, look, actually, it's okay, you're not going to get hurt when you see them. But you've got to get him through that kind of initial anxiety and pain first.
Look, he has settled down a little bit. Yeah, he has settled down a little bit in the sense of he's not so watching and aware every time we're walking around with water or whatever the fluid substance is. But is there any other sort of trick that we could encourage him to possibly drink water?
So he doesn't drink it from a bowl? That's all?
No, won't drink it from a bowl. We'll barely lick it out of your hands. We do put a small amount with his meals, but even then it's quite triggering for him.
Yeah, I would certainly put it in with his food. That would be. We had a dog that wouldn't drink for a while, and we always put water in with the food anyway, especially if it's kibble, because it gets quite dehydrated. Hey, look, I think this is you've got quite an issue there, particularly because water is like one of the major things the dog needs. I would certainly get some help with that one, but I would make the hand. What I would do is probably give it to the dog in your hand, and then I put the bowl in your hand. But make sure that the association with your hand is really positive first. Then put the bowl, a very small bowl, and slowly build up from that. Start from where you know he will do it, and then build it up slowly. But get some help with this one, because what can happen is that behaviour can become ingrained and then start to sort of change into other things as well. So I would get some help now where you've got a chance, because then it can be knocked on the head, and a big behaviourist can get a proper plan in place for you. Because it doesn't sound like he's living in a very nice place at the moment, does it, in that sense, in terms of his mind?
Look, he's definitely improved in a vast amount, but it's just the major habits will obviously take a longer time, and we're well aware of it, and it's just the additional help, or the direction for the additional help is probably best for us.
Yeah. It's all about just thinking about the positive association that he has with things. And if it's negative, you've got to build that positive association up to overtake that negative.
Yeah.
However you do that.
Good luck with that, Priya. It sounds like you have got your work cut out for you, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Another question for you before we end. My border collie doesn't like people approaching her when she's on the lead, especially if we pull tight on the lead. What do we do?
So first of all, don't pull tight on the lead, because that's going to cause more frustration. The best thing you can do is to bring the lead down to the ground and then turn and go the other way, and then come back. And then come back and get them in a sit, and then give them lots of treats whilst that person's coming towards them. There's other things that you're going to need to do there, but certainly that lead's got to be loose. So do some loose lead walking. Again, find a trainer who can teach you that if you can't find something on the internet. All about the frustration. When the lead goes tight, that's when the body posture gets tight and you get frustrated, and there's always the barking at the end of that and the growling. So make sure that lead's loose.
A loose lead.
Said and done there.
Hey, Darren, well, that's it. That's all we've got time for today. Thank you once again for your time. Hopefully next week when we talk, it will be that you'll be, touch wood, down a level in Waikato, hopefully.
Maybe.
Fingers
hopefully.
crossed. Now, if people want to get in touch with you in the meantime, what is the best way to do that?
So you can find me on Facebook, just Mindfulness for Dogs, about number 4, or the website mindfulnessfordogs.com. I'm on Instagram, or you can find telephone numbers on the website. Always happy to have a chat.
Excellent.
But just bear in mind, very busy at the moment. Lots of people emailing, so it might take a little bit longer than you would like. Yeah,
fair enough. Well, that's my excuse all the time. I'm always useless with emails. It's like, well, I've just got lots of email. Even if I haven't, I say I do. But I know that you actually do. You are definitely busy. Darren, thank you so much. And if you want to get in touch with them, remember, Mindfulness for Dogs is where you go.
You've been listening to Darren Rowe on The Mindful Dog, giving our canine friends a voice throughout the world. To find out more about what we do, visit our website at www.mindfulnessfordogs.com.